What's up, WWE Champions Universe? Welcome to Champions Chat, the fastest growing podcast dedicated to the WWE Champions mobile game. I'm Joe Gacy, Rusty Graves, and with me as always, Dexter Loomis, Lee Brown. What's up, Lee?
Does that mean I'm supposed to just not talk for a while and just stare intently at the camera?
I think it means there's supposed to be a slew of lifeless bodies at your feet, and we're supposed to wonder about their state of well-being.
Nice.
Because my 7-year-old son was exposed to some sort of crime scene on Monday Night Raw this week, and I'm still trying to figure out if he's going to be okay without going to therapy.
Jeez.
Oh my gosh. We'll talk about that reveal later in the show on our WWE TV segment. But the Wyatt Six is here, and I can't wait to hear Lee's take on it, because I initially don't really see where they can take this. Okay, but I'm excited to hear from Lee. Well, Lee, we've got a lot going on in the Champions universe. We've got Flash feuds this weekend, including back-to-back female feuds. We are seeing the MLC, what do you call them? They're just called the MLC superstars now, right? Like your Bret Hart, your Trish, your Miz, your Final Boss. I don't really know if we can call them the chase character. I mean, we're chasing them all the whole time. Everyone's
all chase characters now.
And what I was going to say is I noticed in last night's blog read, as I was doing the blog and looking at the Flash feud line requirements, as well as the Battlegrounds contest superstars, those MLC superstars are essentially paramount to succeeding in those contests, where that.
Oh no. Hold on, Rusty. Hold on. Oh, good Lord. Welcome to the Champions Chat podcast, as we're trying it on the Twitch here. If you've ever watched our main channel show on Friday nights, you know, occasionally Rusty's internet dips and he just drops off entirely. So he is taking a siesta for just a moment while I get him back on the collab cam. And then we can keep going with whatever Rusty's saying here. Oh, good night. So we do have chat going, and let me add you back on the stream, Rusty. All right, can you hear me again?
Yeah, it's because I did the blog read by myself last night, right? You had to have today's show all to yourself, and you kicked me off.
I just kicked you hard right there. Yep, I did. No, you were saying Paramount. I was covering for you, you know, and now we've got all the people who are listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Yes, those are back. I'm going to cut the audio from this today. We actually haven't recorded a lot, this last couple weeks because of the tragedies and stuff I've had going on. But so those on Apple and Spotify are like, what just happened right there? But if you're watching on the Twitch, because we record this live on Twitch and you can see this chat bar going right here and all this, then you know Rusty drops out every once in a while. So you were saying Paramount to get the new characters.
Well, I just feel like they're no longer elective. They feel essential.
Right.
Some would actually have great pushback because of that. Some would have perhaps even disdain towards the contest being rooted around that. Others would have great elation, joy, excitement because the contest rises and falls on those month-long superstars that they've already acquired.
Yeah.
It feels like a tale of two cities. Thoughts on that?
It does. I mean, I was able to get Charlotte and Final Boss, you know, not counting Andrade or Maurice because they are free, but I was able to get Charlotte and Final Boss last month. and certainly having them has been super helpful. Final Boss, again, I've said for a while I don't think it's going to hold up once the 99MP drops off, but we'll see next month. Charlotte she was absolutely the best character I thought last month, period. But then I did not get Rex Regum at all, and we've got all these different events going on this month where Rex Regum is bonus, and yeah, I feel like I'm missing him a little bit. So we'll see what happens this month. I mean, quite honestly, Miz with the moment is by far the best character this month. I mean, like,
Man,
it's not
he's
even
good.
close
Goodness.
to. So
Can-
if I just get Miz, I'll be happy. Like, I would love to get Bret Hart for his coaching ability, but you'll see tonight on the power rating, I don't think people are going to be surprised to see that Bret's power rating is not going to be super high.
Well, we don't know, right? We don't
We don't
know
know yet.
until we put him to the test, and we're excited to have the community on Twitch with us on Friday nights to help. The vote really influences the power rating, but also so does sound logic in the results that we test.
Yeah.
Lee, can I share? Let me just share with you. Last episode, I did an extended monologue
You
on
did.
why I thought the final boss was the MVP, right? For me. And people in the community were low on final boss. Oh, once the 99MP wears off, he's not going to be, and you heard it. You heard it. You read it.
Yeah.
Like you saw the grumble or the consternation against the final boss. And yet he continues to be the MVP for me because every Extreme Rules match, most Extreme Rules matches that I've done this week have required either a striker or the Anawai, did I say that correctly? Anawai family link, and he has both. So I have to believe the contest is still designed to reward people that acquired and invested in the final boss Rock.
Right.
All that to say, if I may have the floor for a moment.
Absolutely.
Based on my theory of the Rock final boss being the MVP of last month's contest and then it carrying over into the first 2 weeks of this month, I went all in on The Miz, believing that this was going to be a new paradigm, which means I forsaken. What is the right word here I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Instead of putting all my eggs in the MLC 4 emblems, right? Instead of me wanting that 6-star gold pull or the plate, right? I decided I'm going to take those Miz shards right out of the gate.
Yep.
I got really lucky with a 5 gold Maurice fuse during the kickoff contest.
Oh, wow.
So I've been acquiring the 5-star prize wall coins as well. I went, rather than saving up for that hard times plate, which is a huge get.
Oh, yeah.
I said, nope, I'm taking the Miz shards out of that as well. I believing that the Miz was going to be as important as the final boss has been. In week 2 of the midweek contest, I took the Miz moment before I could see a clear path forward to acquiring the Miz, right? Wow. And then I've just been going really hard after Miz shards. I've been doing what I've also noticed is with these new superstars, you get the most shard support their contest or their week, right? And then it kind of trickles out. It goes down in the coming weeks. So Miz week, I went hard in the loot, hard in the contests, hard looking for bonus milestones. Again, believing that the Miz would be as important or more important Now, his plate hadn't come out yet. His moment was still being tested. We didn't know. What we now know is that The Miz is a S plus tier superstar at
Yep.
5-star gold with his yellow gem and multiply build.
Yep.
All that to say, Lee, was that you? Give me some analysis, give me some feedback of my gameplay, and did I take a huge gamble there? Did what I do, was that risky? Was that dangerous? Could that have burned me? Could I have been furious if The Miz would have been a flop? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, okay, so here's the thing. Before his moment was announced, which is, leading into his weekend, we were getting ready to power rate him. Before I had to call off that week and some other stuff. But leading into that, he wouldn't have been a very high rated character before that moment. He was solid, A B tier, give or take. So the gamble early on, I'd say, was pretty high gamble because, to be quite honest, in my initial, break it down preview of him was like, yeah, he's okay, but really, really nothing special. Now, obviously, on the back end, we were, very wrong because they added some tricks to him, which we'll talk about in a moment. But I would say, so here's where your path and my path diverged. Unlike last month, I learned from last month because I almost didn't get Charlotte because I used my coins for other things. And I was like, oh gosh, I don't want to repeat that with Brett. So I have been and probably will continue to save up my emblems until the end. So I also got The Miz, and excuse me for one sec. Pardon me, didn't want to cough on stream. I also got The Miz, and I already have him. For those who followed my talent up video, I did take him 6-star gold. I was only a few, 100 yellow TP short, and when I all of a sudden went, oh crud, I can't do this. So I do have him 6-star gold. I've got the moment. And all of that, but I didn't get him as quick as you. So I didn't get his debut contest for the weekend, where like the premium prize wall and all that kind of stuff. I missed out on that, but I now have him, and we're still 3 weeks left, 2.5 weeks left of the MLC. So I think I'm okay, and I think what you did is okay. I think it was a huge gamble on the front end because he was going to be an level character. He was okay, but that was it. But once they added that moment, I mean, you were there, you power rated him, you led the stream. He is now like he's not just gonna hold up. Like he's gonna be in the conversation with Zombie Dom, with Kevin Owens, with Muda, with some of these characters who are always going to be relevant because he does multi gems and he does so stinking many of them now. So I don't see a reality where Miz drops out of the meta anytime soon, for sure. Like I think he's 7-star silver proof at this point. So
Yeah, and well, I forgot to add one piece to my strategy. Is I wanted to get The Miz in time for the premium showdown.
right.
I wanted to get The Miz at the same time that I got Final Boss Rock. I was trying to coordinate, but what I had to do is I had to overcompensate for the lack of the 400 free shards, right?
Oh,
So I
yeah,
had to.
that's right. I forgot about that.
So it took a lot to get The Miz. Now here's what I got in doing so. I got his plate by getting I got over 7,000, let's say 8,000 medallions just from the premium showdown loot or accomplishments, milestones, right? Now, does the Miz plate push the Miz over the edge? No. But if this is a strategy, that I also could have taken the nearing in plate. I had the same
Right.
amount of currency. I did not have enough currency for the final boss plate. I wish that plate would have been the same price. I would have taken it, for the record, to
Yeah.
continue to re-emphasize my love of the final boss rock.
Right.
So, so I did, like I said, I went all in on Miz, and I got out of the contest as much as anyone could possibly get out of the contest for that specific character. I didn't
Nice.
get the mega bonus prize wall stuff. That was way out of my league. That would have required a lot of spending additionally to what I did spend, um, which wasn't a lot. Uh,
Right.
so um, yeah, I think both strategies are valid, Lee, and I think you're probably going to be in position to get Bret Hart where I may have a shortfall. I may need a lucky pull.
Right.
I may need. I may not get him. I may have to get him next month, right?
Right.
And Lee, I don't think we've said this on a show yet, right? But I'm curious. Lee has put forth the assertion. This is Lee's words. I'm going to quote Lee's words, and then Lee, I
Quoting
want to
me.
tell you. I want to tell you. I want you to respond to your words, whether they're
Okay.
true or false.
Ooh.
Bret Hart, the best there ever will be, is now the most important coach in the game.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think there's one area where I may have taken a little bit of a hit on that, but I wasn't. I guess I just didn't notice as much because the three lines of text, you can't see everything at once
Right.
unless you go into his poster coaching ability, where Gunther is 60% on multi gems, and then the bonus color for blue, which is 30%. Brett is 35% across the board, so he does not actually boost the multi gems as much as I thought, but
Mm.
yellow gems, green gems, multi gems. So Bret Hart on Miz, we would need to do the percentages as to whether it works this way. But in my mind, let's try it. Here. So he's not hitting blue. Miz is not hitting blue. So he's hitting
Right.
multi gems. So that's 60% with Zombie Gunther. Whereas with Brett, it's 35% for yellow, 35% for multi, which is 70% as opposed to only 60. So I think with blue multis specifically, Zombie Gunther is still the best coach in the game. But anywhere else, you're anywhere where you've got green and yellow, Bret Hart is. So it's conditional, right?
Right.
Because if you're using multis but not yellow, Gunther's still 60% as opposed to 35. But either way, I mean, those two, every time we do a power rating video, it feels like we're like, well, you got to throw on Zombie Gunther. Every time we do a break it down, he's the most common coach that shows up. I mean, I use him more than Santa Hogan on builds. So I still think Brett is going to be like one, if at worst 1A, 1B. Hi there, balloons. With Zombie Gunther, but for most of your characters, you're thinking like, okay, let's take CM Punk, right? A number of people in the community
Okay.
started getting CM Punk recently. I did as well.
Right.
He does a ton
Ooh.
of multi gems, but they're random color. There's not like consistently he's going to hit green, he's going to hit whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Bret Hart is going to be your better choice because you're more likely to hit yellow and green than you are blue, especially since green is his primary color and yellow is one of his others. So you've just got a lot more options with him. I think
Okay.
that he's going to be great going forward. Honestly, I think from this month though, Miz is going to be the character that people talk about a year from now. Like the way that
Wow.
I have been talking about Zombie Dom since he came out as still
Uh-huh.
relevant, as
Wow.
still on top of the meta. In fact, the thing that inspired the should you take, whoever 6-star gold series was Zombie
Yeah.
Dominic because he explodes still in this meta. He is still one of the best characters. Doesn't matter about tier. Doesn't matter about the fact that he was free. B tier, free tier, still one of the best characters in this game currently. I think Miz is going to be up there for that same conversation. Where I think as a fighter, Bret Hart doesn't even hold up right now.
I had so I had some fun on stream last night with Bret Hart. I doubt you watched it because you're on vacation. The last thing I
I
imagine
was
you
on
doing.
a mountain getting rained on. It was, I mean, it was like
Lovely
torrential
vacation.
downpour.
Oh, poor Renee. Uh,
It was
so
fun.
I decided I wanted to try to use Bret Hart on
Okay.
stream, but I wanted to do something unorthodox that other CCs had not done. I was calling it the snowman build. I wanted
Okay.
to use the Miz plate on
Oh,
Bret,
yeah.
and I wanted to only use Snowfall Entourage to
Yep.
see what he could actually do.
It's
Lee,
good.
can I tell you my unorthodox build on Bret?
Uh-huh.
I took him into battle at 6-star silver on my CC account against 6-star gold Big Papa Pump.
Uh-huh.
And together with the community, we dialed in a build to beat Big Papa Pump in 2 turns
Okay.
with Bret Hart at 6 silver, using only the Miz plate, and using what we eventually did was we replaced we had all 4 entourage members as Snowfall. We switched out 2 of the Snowfall. We took out Nikita and we took out Acro Snoop, and we put in green gym damage
Okay.
entourage so that we were just getting double power
Right.
for Snowfall and green. And the Miz plate was, because the Miz plate can lower the opponent's gym damage by 50%.
Right.
It basically nullified his advantage over me, so that in 2 turns I could deal enough to stay alive and win the match. Now I think I won it 1 or 2 star. He certainly, put in some real damage against me.
Yeah.
But it was fun. And so,
Okay.
like, I think Bret could be, and we probably should do more content like that, where we're just making janky builds, trying and like experimental builds that could be. What if Snowfall and Green was the boss battle, magic formula?
Right.
Well, suddenly Bret Hart's your guy, and suddenly
Right.
he's just all world.
Right.
So,
Oh, absolutely. But I think, going into the power rating tonight, for those who also watch us on the main channel tonight, is I think that the biggest miss was his sub. I mean, Bret Hart is the sub
yeah,
guy, and that sub just isn't gonna. It's not. It doesn't hold up. It doesn't go 6-star gold
right,
meta, and he is a 6-star gold meta character.
right,
So I think that I don't know. There is precedent that Scopely sees the CCs playing around with them and stuff, and maybe make some adjustments down the road. I may or may not be planning already to send the low number, because I know it's going to be low for a S tier character for a big chase.
yeah,
To send that over and say, hey guys, look at this is the feedback that we got on Bret, just so you know, and just
right.
watch them, see if they're like, well, wait a second, is he not as good as we meant him to be? Because I
Well,
mean, one way or
yeah,
another, again, next month he's absolutely required. If you get his gear, and that's going to be a big part of our power rating, is his gear is all colors, so if you get his gear, he's going to be great. But I don't know. So we've got to actually in the chat. If you're listening to this, you can't see our chat, but we have someone says, "Do you ever think we'll get subs that do 20-ish million, not 20 million spread across 5 turns, but like 20 million per turn?" Maybe. To be honest, I would have expected that if they brought a sub person in the 6-star gold meta, that sub was relevant in the 6-star gold meta. And obviously Brett's not that guy yet. I think it's probably going to be later on in the 6-star gold era or whatever.
yeah, and maybe, gosh, this is just playing the what if game, right? Maybe if the 7-star meta wants to rebalance things with move damage, that is certainly a possibility.
Yeah.
But the other thought is they could do that without breaking the game,
Yeah.
simply because they've been including reversal moves
Oh yeah.
on on the new GOAT Ali, on Muscle Man Bray, on Bodacious Becky. There's a list is growing of
Right.
people that can reverse a sub. And the escape artist plate is, gosh, I mean, I think most people have it in their inventory.
Yeah.
Um, I haven't seen it offered lately, but I think if they started releasing superstars of that caliber, they would certainly put the escape artist plate back into consistent rotation
Right.
just for to keep things fair and balanced. So that's a great question from the chat. I'm it felt weird to me to use Brett and not have the sharpshooter be
I know.
his key move. I mean,
I know,
just
right?
period. Like it just felt weird to be like sharpshooter. Now the sharpshooter does leave the board red snowfall gem covered, which is
Right.
great, and yet his move set doesn't guarantee a way to blow up the board. The
Right.
finisher can destroy 3 rows of gems if the RNG is good to you and leaves
Right.
a lot of snowfall on the top row.
Right.
Great, but because it's a sub move, a lot of gems get broken and a lot
Right.
of cascade happens. So there's no way to ensure that the sharpshooter is effective. And
Yep.
then maybe that combo is more important to me than mega sub. Like if I could somehow guarantee that the sharpshooter left enough snowfall to really make that finisher pop or something, it
Right.
would be a fun combo to use.
Yeah, I
But
mean, it's kind of like Striker Shayna Baszler. We just had Father's Day, and it made me think. I was like, oh my gosh, Father's Day last year was the first time I got a 6-star bronze pull from Loot, and it was Striker Shayna Baszler. Look how
ooh,
far we've come now, where there's guaranteed 6-star gold pulls every
I don't have
month
Striker
instead.
Shayna still, so
She's okay. You know, again, but very similar, a very similar play style to what that move set of Brett's is, where she puts a
mm,
bunch of subs, but you have to just hope that they don't, break them, and then you kind of create everything into a cascade of snowfall. Black, but again, you've just gotta hope that it works out. So it's just, I don't know. I'm just not a fan of that play style, to be honest.
right,
And had Brett, even if his sub were juiced just a bit more, I think I would have enjoyed him a little bit more. But
yeah,
as sits, I just don't know. So, but I do definitely want to chase him. And if I got him plus gear, there is the DDP, Hall of Fame DDP style move set, where you've got just flooding the board with power gems and then
yeah,
breaking 3 and then doing a 5 match. And it's almost identical damage to what DDP is doing. So if you get the gear, that move set will rock. I mean, it will always be
mm,
good. In
okay,
fact, it might be better than DDP, just simply because DDP now requires yellow and P trainers to get loaded, whereas Brett may still need like a two MP guy, but there are 2 MP guys that have bonus power gem damage as well. So I think that's where
yeah,
he's going to shine if you get the gear. But beyond that, I'm just not. I don't know. I'm going to chase the gear. I thought that was going to be this weekend, but it's
yeah.
not. I guess it's
I'm
Trish's
chasing the
weekend next weekend.
entourage ability to be totally honest.
Yeah,
I'm
me too.
chasing the coaching ability on
Yep,
Brett.
me too.
Period.
Yeah.
Um, it's simply for the fact that as much as I've put some mileage on Zombie Gunther's tires. I
Oh
have
yeah.
used him in so many builds, and
Yep.
I anticipate Brett being the same, if not coupling Brett with Zombie Gunther, right? So maybe he knocks
Ooh.
out Memrock from that second coach spot that I'm always coupling. Now we're talking some nasty damage, bro. We're talking
Ooh.
95% more damage to
Ooh.
multiply gems
I didn't think
if
about
the
that.
math works that way. If the math is cumulative, right? If you take the 60 plus the 35 and add them
Yeah.
together, if if in fact that is how the math resolves. I don't always know the
Right.
way things will stack and layer. But I anticipate that coupling being just lethal, right? With the Miz,
Yeah.
just suddenly maybe zombie. I mean, not zombie. Suddenly, Tech Cody might be back in the conversation
Hmm.
for doing significantly more than 40 million at gold, and we're seeing like, he's going back up 35% more.
Yeah.
Lee,
Yeah.
can I
Or
share?
oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead. No, you.
No. Okay, I was just gonna say, or the sleeper in this whole conversation that other streamers have tried and we have not yet is
Mm.
Jey Uso. I'ma get him. He, with his
Yeah,
two moments,
yeah,
if you take him
right.
into feud, and if you have the multi gym entourage coach like Zoom Zombie, like if you were to do what you were just talking about,
Yeah, yeah.
he is absolutely frightening now. Like I haven't done
Mm.
him up yet, but I'm honestly thinking of taking I'm gonna get him Jey Uso to 6 gold just as a feud destroyer because those two moments, 100% gem damage, multi strength up by 4 on one, multi strength up by 2 on another. He's got triple black moveset where he creates nonstop multis and then turns them black. So, that wouldn't necessarily play into the strength of either Gunther or Bret Hart's, like the color portion of them. But I wasn't thinking about the fact that 95% or whatever it works to because they don't
Right.
quite come together that way. One goes and then the other goes, so it offs a little bit of percentage point. But even if it's 90%, you're talking a feud monster with another free
Yeah.
character. So anyway,
Yeah. I love moments. Can I
I do too.
just share my favorite thing in the game are moments. And this midweek contest prize wall is my favorite thing in the game right now because I can save up all month and get a great moment,
I agree.
or I can get a few cheapies that I don't have. Didn't you grab? Which one did you grab recently that you were excited about?
Well, I mean, I've already gotten yes, Fat Daddy. One of them is faction boss only. He actually has three now. So one of them's feud, one of them's universal, one of them's faction boss. So I wasn't even considering the faction boss one. But yeah, so the midweek, month long midweek prize wall, the fact that it's month long, the fact that you can strategize. I mean, again, I coined the phrase. This is the Triple H era of booking in WWE Champions, long term booking. And I love it because first week
Nice.
one, the question that you asked, I spent a little bit to go ahead week one and get the tribute to the troops moment,
I
which
thought you were crazy when you did that. By the
I
way,
know.
I
Well,
thought
now
this
now
dude's
it's
off
okay
his
because now I got the
this
Miz
homie's off
moment.
his rocker. That's what I thought. Because not
Well,
only did you
no,
do it, you did it day one, right
I
when it was
did.
offered.
I
You had
did.
no idea anything else that was going to happen in the month. You just like day one, boom, grab it.
Boom. Well, and granted, now had I known at the time how good the Miz moment was, I would have
Oh
gotten
yeah,
that. But
yeah.
I still got the Miz moment a couple days after I got Miz. So I
Right,
mean, I had
right.
Miz for a few days without his moment, but it was only a few days. But again, that moment. So now I've got 3 moments on Powerhouse Hogan. The Ali moment is 100% gem damage, 50% less from receiving damage. Multi strength goes up and generate gems goes up. Then you've got the tribute to the troops moment, which is another 100%. So that's 200% gem damage. Plus he creates more gems again. And then the least of these was the Andre WrestleMania 2 moment, or WrestleMania 3 moment, sorry,
Right.
with Hogan. And it just does 25%, but still it's 225% all gem damage. The last thing I'm missing for my Megazord of Hulk Hogan there is his gear, which again is all MP. Starts with 4 more. If I could get that, I would really do something. But again, I have seen someone in our faction running a tricolor Hogan with not missing a moment, but has the
Right.
gear. I think it could be the other way around, but I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
yeah,
it's
yeah.
missing a moment, but has the gear, and him doing insane damage.
Who
Plus,
who
boss
are
battle.
you Do you feel comfortable saying who? Because I would love to know who's running
I'll tell you off stream
Hogan.
because last time
Okay.
we named someone on stream and then they were
Right,
getting DMs
right.
from everybody going
Oh
like, "Hey,
yeah,
help me with
listen, if
this."
we talk about someone having a good strategy, do not DM them, okay? We've already told you the strategy on air. So it's not you, you don't need to get additional proprietary secrets from them because we've already shared the info on the air with the whole community. So don't be DMing
Well,
y'all.
plus, 50 people start DMing one person and they're like, "Leave me alone!" Ah,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's not cool. It's bad party move, party foul. But yeah, so Hogan with those moments is insane. So boss battle, he makes now what is it like 15 or 16, 18, 19, 20 something wild card gems. And wildcard gems count as every color for breaking the boss's shield. So instantly, he is now he breaks every shield period guy. Plus, he's doing 225% more damage. Plus, if you do the multi build, because when we did our Hulkamania Remastered series, that was our first big introduction into the community as new CCs. I had him hitting 50 million, and that was with silver. That would be 100 million at gold, and that was not including any moments because they didn't have moments unlocked at that point. So that was 50 million with no moments, and now I'm telling you he can do 225% plus more gems, plus more multis, plus more.
Okay, you make a compelling case. You make a very compelling case for why we should want to Voltron Hulk Hogan.
If you have the moments, especially the Ali one,
Well, and what I would say is, especially if you are a man of a certain age or a woman of a certain age, and you grew up in the Hulkamania era, right? If you love Hogan, it's probably your best path forward to a viable Hogan in the game, right? As far as being meta competitive.
Right.
Do you already have him at 6 gold, or is that your plan to take him to 6 gold?
It is my plan. I took him with the talent up. I took him to 6 silver. But my big bottleneck is powerhouse aggressive shards. Yeah. So as soon as I can, I'm Soupster says, sorry.
I'm leaving him at 26K. That's funny. Yeah. I love it.
Well, and it's fine, like I say, and you don't even have to like Hogan. I mean, it's just one of those hey, if you've got the parts, this thing could really,
right?
No, not TP shards. I do. Yeah, although, haha, yes, my TP is. If you watch my talent up video, I'm having to make choices based on the fact that I have no TP left. But shards.
Well, I think what the community doesn't realize about your talent up videos is you don't sit down with a chart of premeditated moves that you're going to make. You actually do that live in real time. What I mean is you don't have okay, I know I've got this amount of TP to do all these moves. You have a hit list that you're working down the hit list, and you run out of stuff we all do in talent up. So I think the running gag is Lee tried to make this move and he can't do it.
Yep.
And the only reason the only reason that's funny is because it's so relatable to every one of us who have inadvertently shot someone to the moon only to realize they don't have enough Elias guitars to go to the next level, right? They're like, no.
I hated those guitars.
Yeah, that's we've all been there, and that's the only reason it's funny. Yeah, it would be strange to someone who hadn't experienced that. They'd be like, oh, I feel bad for Lee. That's so sad. No, everyone's like, I've been there, bro.
Got you. Well, you want to talk about the new thing in the game for a few?
I do. I don't know that we're necessarily supposed to go big with this yet. So we want to, I just want to make observations because it would be weird to not talk about something that virtually everyone is talking about at this point. True confessions. I was on stream last night on the official Champions stream doing an official Champions blog reveal when people in the chat started asking questions about something that I did not know had been revealed yet. and I thought there was a leak, or I thought some coder had got in there and hacked. I don't know. I didn't know what was happening, and I was just like, I don't. I had mental paralysis,
Right.
which I've never had on a stream before, where I was just like, I can't, I don't even know what that is. I don't know what you're talking about. So last night, here, for everyone who doesn't know even what we're talking about, last night I was doing the Flash Feud blog reveal, and around 9:58 p.m. So it was like right at the Eastern time, the end of the blog, 2 minutes left in the blog. People in the chat started asking about a new feature that had been released on the portal, and there was a thread live on the forum, and there was an announcement made via town hall announcements that factions subscribe to and that go out to their Discord servers. So suddenly there was this thing that existed called the Universal Champions Pass, which is a new subscription, or club, and there's a new subscription-based feature to the game. I don't have this feature. I haven't looked at it terribly close yet, but what I do have, Lee, is I have a member of the community that sent me his initial thoughts, who instantly subscribed.
Yep.
And is already using it. And so I thought, without sharing their name, because Lord knows he doesn't need 50 of your DMs today to ask him questions, him or her. So can I just share? Do you have any thoughts on this before I share their breakdown of it?
I do, but I would just say, so we were told, hey, don't talk much about it yet. However, bro's already out in the wild, so I think we're good.
Okay.
Iron
All right,
Sheik, what's up, buddy? I love you. How are you? Everybody subscribe to Iron Sheik 84 on Twitch and YouTube, please.
Love you, Sheik. And what I can say is before I won't read Sheik's comment out loud, but I will say this. This is a poll already. We're seeing, like every change in Champions. Camps are forming, and this seems to be a polarizing issue in the community. Some are saying, whoa, no way, I would never do that. Others are jumping in already. Yeah. Look what I got. This is terrific. Here's what I'm doing. So I think it's important that everyone slow down and consider the benefits and the consequences of every dollar they spend, right? Yeah. Just be informed and be wise. And I say that because there are people that leave. I took my son to a place called Frankie's Fun Park the other night.
Wow.
You would not believe how quickly we blew through the play card. We had charged up this preload. So we're at like an arcade, right? Yep. Pay to play arcade. $20 doesn't go very far in an arcade in 2024.
No. You can do that in a couple games.
Now, and if you're chasing the tickets to get prizes, I felt like I was playing Champions IRL, right? I was in the meta version of, I've got this prize wall, right? And the prize wall medallions are the tickets needed that are spit out from the machine. And yet everything on the prize wall is so much more than I'm willing to invest in this contest. And then you're like, this is hilarious. This is Champions didn't invent this concept. I'm walking through the halls of it.
Right.
In real life. And I'm doing a digital version of it on the game.
Right.
That being said, there were people that left that day with the large stuffed animal, right? Mm-hmm. The big one. There are people that left there. They wailed out at Frankie's Fun Park. They did everything. They ate the ice cream. They rode the go-karts. They won the big prizes. That did not diminish my experience that I had with my son, though.
Right.
Their fun and their spending did not diminish my experience with my son. And I think if we can ever get to a place in this game where we come to the same consensus, right? To say, just because that guy leaves the carnival with the big teddy bear doesn't mean I didn't have a great time, with my family riding the roller coaster or playing the ring toss or eating the popcorn or whatever it is that we did on our budget, on our level. We had a blast doing it. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I think, that's a great analogy. And I think it's really relevant too, because I wasn't making this comparison in my brain. So for us, Dave and Buster's would be similar to what you're talking about there.
Absolutely.
And my son loves Dave and Buster's, and when we go, we know, like, okay, so prize wall. I mean, it's literally what it is. It's like this many tickets gets you a Sonic the Hedgehog plushie, or whatever.
Right.
But we usually go when my mom and her fiance Paul are in town, and so we're usually not doing it on our budget as much. I mean, we prime the pump, so to speak. We buy him his first card, but then say, hey, once you're done, you're done. And then, of course, Grandma's like, well, hold on. Here, let's add some more. Oh, let's add a little bit more to that. But
thank goodness for the grandmas of the world, right?
Yeah, thank goodness, yeah. But I forget what exactly it was, but I figured it out. For him to get, it wasn't even Sonic. I think it was Shadow the Hedgehog. To get a plushie of Shadow that literally
you could buy at
Walmart for $15. I mean, $15 guaranteed at Walmart.
Right.
If they had it. But I think it was about, with dinner and with tokens and everything, it was like $300 to go to Dave and Buster's. Boy. And that was dinner too, but still, I mean, you take out dinner, it was at least $150 to get a $15 Shadow the Hedgehog.
And you're paying for the experience more than just the animal, right? More than just the toy. Right. You're paying for an evening's worth of entertainment. And I think sometimes we lose sight of that about this game, that we're actually getting a weekend's worth of entertainment out of a mobile game, right? Yep. So it's not necessarily about just the outcome of the one prize from the contest.
Well, but to Sheik's point, this way right here, this text wall is very well worth reading. And he says, if you were to add up every subscription in the game, it's $152.93 American. That's more than my monthly cell phone bill. That's a little under my monthly payment for my insurance on both vehicles. That's more than what I paid for 1 gig internet. The list goes on. Now, obviously, if you were to get every single pass in the game, I doubt many would get everything, but what is worth getting, like this pass, this club. Oh, by the way, do you remember? Oh man, what was the band? I'm gonna forget. But you remember the song "You Down with OPP"? You down with OPP? Yeah,
I believe that was Naughty by Nature.
Naughty by Nature, that's right. Okay, so this is the Universal Champions Club. Wow. So now we can start going, you down with UCC? Yeah, you
Oh my gosh. Our ratings we're pushing PG-13 even mentioning Naughty by Nature.
Well, so is WWE TV now, so we're good with it, right?
It's true. It's not a kids program anymore. And we can talk about that in our next segment. We can talk about that
in a minute. But okay, so let's just say, like, I don't think very many people are buying every pass. Some are, and again, we've said on the podcast before, those are the people who are funding this game. Like, the economics of it have to have infusions of cash in order for it to continue working. But let's say, okay, so King of Kings Pass. Usually people talk about, like, I don't subscribe to anything, but I do have the King of Kings Pass.
Yeah, I'm free to play, but I have King of Kings.
But I have King of Kings Pass.
I think you hear that a lot.
People, not supposed to say this, but certain people will do it for 1 week, and
get out of here! Don't even.
They get all the stuff out of it. The strap-up pass is certainly becoming more popular, especially now as they have redone aspects of it.
It got reworked this week. There was an in-game message overnight about the strap-up pass, or the all that what is it called, the plate mover coins and all that being reset at the day you I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. So you've got your King of Kings pass, so you could do that the full time, or there's ways around. You've got your strap up pass. The manager's pass has lost a little luster, but that's how I still don't have what's his name, NWO Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect. That's really the only way you can get to there. The DX passes. So Sheik mentioned in the comment section right here about the DX passes. That is something I think we can talk about from some of our back end conversations. And I was going to bring it up if it didn't come up naturally anyway on here. So like conversations in some of those like monthly calls and things, that it's not that Champions is unwilling to rework those passes. It's that Apple and Google specifically have very distinct rules about subscriptions in games, and you cannot change an existing pass that has members still paying for it, period, or there are huge consequences from Apple and Google. And let's be honest, I'm an Apple guy, right? But let's be honest, it's more Apple and their restrictions than it is
you have
Google
to play by Apple's rules if you want to be in their app store,
or you are.
And I think,
bam,
right, and I think that's what you bring up, right? Is that like we don't want to see Champions get removed from any major app stores.
Right.
Those of us that enjoy the game, love the game, want the game to grow, want updates available within the game, right? So
and I think that they're going to try and do some things that maybe work around that. Like I personally have suggested multiple times, like, okay, come out with a new pass then that has new features.
So this was your idea. All this, this Universal Champions Club was your idea. Lee, you're...
Oh, wow. Look at me.
You are incredible.
This is different than what
You're going to be the next Garrison. You're going to be working for Scopely next month. I know it. It's going to happen. I'm going to have to find a new partner on Champions Chat. Wow. You're just going to be gone. You're going to be, answering tickets.
Maybe answering tickets, yeah. No.
You don't speak French Canadian, so you're already, there's a few strikes against you.
That is true.
Even though you are wearing,
hat.
But I'm glad you are wearing our national color of red today. Notice I said our color.
Red and even a white stripe down it.
I'm identifying as Canadian this month. I hope that's okay to say. I've even got I've got my hat here. Well, you don't need to explore that thought any deeper.
We don't. But to finish just real quick, like I have suggested, what if the game were to come out with some new passes that replace the old ones? And the answer is, look, if it were that simple, we would have done it a long time ago. Legitimately, we have looked at the different rules that the app stores have. It can't be done as simply as what you're saying. Now, that being said, we originally started talking about this new pass, which does not do anything that would replace the DX passes, but it does have some of those, like, hey, you get some, the additional boxes, you get some of those things. So there are some things in there that you're being welcomed as an honorary
I just gave him the hand hearts. So, I didn't want to interrupt, but I was like, yes!
There they are.
I love it.
But it is, like, I agree with Sheik, and I think I don't think that anybody on the back end, I can't speak for Scopely because I only have like this much communication with Scopely headquarters, so to speak, or representatives.
I have zero communication with.
Yeah, we have zero communication with headquarters.
You get private. We
have a couple people we have access.
I was going to say, you get some private intel I don't get apparently. Because they don't answer my DMs.
Right, but behind the scenes, like nobody that I've talked to has said like, oh man, we're just milking this thing. Like, no, it's really like, hey, we would love to do something different with this.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in the gaming community has a malicious intent or a bone in their butt. No, I'm talking about that creates video games for a living. If you make video games for a living, you're doing that because you want people to have fun, right?
Depends on what level you're talking about. But yeah.
Your motivation is profit and fun, right? Like there's a combo, right?
Yeah. Right. Well, and I agree with Sheik here. I mean, nobody's going to outright say, haha, let's milk them dry. But, I mean, again, we've had some pretty honest conversations with some people that we have come to trust in what they're saying, and there's never been like a hesitation or a pause or like a, oh, but this is working. It's very quickly been like, we would love to see this different. We can't.
Yeah.
However, these new like this you down with UCC? That thing is kind of a step, and I think this might be a gateway. Let's not talk about how to get around requirements for app stores, but notice that the UCC is on the portal and not in game. That does skirt app store rules, so maybe there could be some things like that. Who knows?
Let me share a breakdown because I know we're tight on time today.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
And I want to. This is a breakdown from an actual user in the community. We won't share this user's name,
right?
Because you'll DM them and they'll hate you for it. But I can say this: this is a Canadian, so someone is a trustworthy individual, right? They wrote, "Cool. This is my breakdown from the new subscription rewards you for spending by giving you access to the Club Coin shop.
Okay.
So now if you spend, you get Club Coins back. You can save those Club Coins and get a new superstar. There are some very rare superstars in there, along with those that regularly show up in loot. Right. But it's a choice as opposed to random. Right. You also get one free pull for every contest that has a paid loot, so not keys. Nice. Example, we currently have 3 loots that are running. I got a free pull for each one as soon as I subscribed. Wow. Roughly $10 in pulls. Supposed to be other perks, but I haven't figured them out yet. Then he sent me a screenshot. These are the stars you can save Club Coins to get. Example, Muda is 1 million Club Coins, Tech Carrying Cross is 75K. And there's screenshots here of Powerhouse Sammy, Muscle Man Bray, Bodacious Becky, Jade Cargill, some of the most desirable, people in the game, right? And so I said, thank you. This is really great analysis. So then they sent back, every pull you do rewards you with XP points and Club Coins. There are milestones for XP points. Right. When you reach a milestone, you claim more Club Coins. Another screenshot of the missions they're on. I hope this helps. I wanted to join you live in the chat today so I could share about my experience, but I don't think I'm able to make it. Right. And then they said, oh, sorry, Muda is actually 800K Club Coins. So this is not blog information. This is not Scopely written information. What I just read was one user's experience of their initial, excitement about this subscription. And I'm guessing they don't have many other subscriptions active. They don't have many other passes going.
From what I know, I think this is one of those King of Kings only people, which it would make sense if that's the case. But
okay, all right. Well, do you have you got to look at what is it called? The Prestige Pass? I guess there's 2 levels of the Ultimate Champions Club. Have you gotten to play around with it yet at all? Or
once again, Rusty, it is the You Down with UCC. But
I have not clicked it. I have not even looked at the portal. All I've seen are the screenshots the community has sent me for this show.
Sure. Well, so full transparency side of things, we were given access to that blog to kind of proof it and check some things out like 3 hours maybe before it went live. I was riding a gondola up a mountain, and so I was just kind of checking it out and seeing what was in there and going, oh, this could be fun. And then initially I think we were told this isn't going to go live for a little while, in terms of, I took that to mean days, weeks, who knows. And then all of a sudden it was live during the stream you were doing while I was getting rained out. Yeah,
that was actually why I was shocked on stream, because I thought, oh no.
We were told this wasn't going live.
This information is not supposed to be out.
Right.
Uh-oh.
But it's live. I mean, it's full. So I have looked a little bit, but again, that was late last night and this is early this morning. I mean, I woke up early to do this podcast on vacation because I miss it. I missed doing it last week. But all that to say, So initially, that same person that's messaging you has been messaging me, and the initial thought was like, okay, like if it plays out the way he was thinking, it would take about 3 months to get a more premium character. So let's take Muda. Muda is someone I don't know that I will have the ability to get, even doing a weekly mega, on the weekend. One, Muda has to randomly show up in that. And two, I have to get insanely lucky, which if you've watched my pulls lately, good Lord, they are not good. Yeah, in fact, we've had several people say, hey, Lee, thank you for doing pulls on stream. It prevented me from doing them because they were terrible. Whoops. But let's say I could pick Muda within 3 months. And that might not be the right estimate. Maybe it's a little bit longer. But a premium character every 3. I don't have Sherry. Sherry's on there. I could go for like the ability. I think you actually said it when we first got access to that blog, and you said this should be called the Partridge Pass. Like the Partridge was the thing where you could pick one character and just say, I want it. Boom, I got it.
In the early days, it was a contest reward. Yeah. You could claim any superstar.
Any superstar. Yeah, and Soupster in the chat is saying, hey, I'm trying this out for a month. But let's just do the math real quick. Let's say I got Muda. Muda is a character, or 3 months from now. Let's say I do the pass, and it takes me 3 or 4 months, and I get to pick Muda. Muda is a character, when he came out, lots of people were saying, I spent $1,000-$2,000 to try and get. Now, obviously, we're talking months from now before even if I had the pass today, which I don't, like it would take 3 months to get him. So that builds in a little bit of a buffer of like, oh, this character is not the new hotness anymore. But for me, getting Muda would be huge. Now let's take a look at the fact Vinny just said in the chat, or no, Super said in the chat there, like, hey, I've got this pass, I'm trying it out, and the loots today, right now, include one loot that costs $7 US per coin. So you're talking about a $30 pass, and today alone you get 3 pulls, one of which is a $7 pull. Right. That seems to me like there's some value to this compared to, as some of our friends of the podcast pointed out, your DX passes, which maybe don't quite have the value anymore.
If you're a loot spender, right? If that's who you are, spending $30 to get more loot and to make your loots better and to get basically credit card rewards on your loot pulls.
Oh my gosh, like that's exactly what this is.
Basically, yeah, it's like for every it's like your cash back, right? For your loot pulls. At least that's the way I'm initially seeing it. This is my take
on this. Yeah.
This is not a Scopely take. This is my take, right? You're strategically investing to get guaranteed payback on your loot investment, where presently there is no guaranteed return on a loot. You and I have both had horrific loots consistently.
Yeah.
That's probably par for the course, and what happens more often is you get a bad loot versus a great loot, right? Wow. So now there's some return on it, right? Now there's some kickback, which is kind of nice. And if you're a spender, you deserve some kickback. You deserve to get stuff out of what you've spent versus nothing. Right. There's been loot where I did, like the Bray Wyatt Muscle Man High Roller loot, where I literally got nothing.
Yeah.
Not a fuse, not a star fill, not a new superstar.
100%.
It was a swing and a miss. Yeah. And it was 3 swings and misses, and it was a strikeout.
Yeah.
Right? So my beloved Blue Jays, they want to hit home runs. They don't want to hit strikeouts. So I kind of like this. I think it incentivizes your spending, and it actually rewards your spending.
Yeah.
We can't dive into the ethics of should you spend.
Right.
Like, that's a separate conversation.
That's a conversation you got to have with your spouse, significant other, and credit card company.
With your finance advisor.
Maybe
and we are not.
Right.
Yeah, we are not finance consultants. So should you spend, that's on you.
Right.
If you spend, Lee and I want you to get stuff out of the spend. So I would say I'm for this subscription. I like
as
it.
it sits, I mean, I didn't know I mean, okay, I did read in there you get a bonus pull, but I had not made the mental connection that, hey, you get one free pull with every paid loot. Okay, so what is that per month? Let's just think about this. $30, and how many loots do you get each month? Well, you're going to get a weekly loot because there's the weekly loot all the time. You're going to get every single weekend. So now you're talking one. I don't know if that resets every week, if it considers it, because the way the shop resets. But if that resets, that's 4 and 4 right there. Single pulls at the cheapest are $2. So that's $16 right there. If there's a premium loot, which there's usually at least one per month, that's another $7 right there. I mean, you're talking about $30. I mean, here's the deal. Let's talk. We are not Scopely employees,
We do not get a commission from any of this. There's no kickback, okay?
There's not a kickback. So what they are counting on, because again, corporations got to make money. What they're counting on is that you do that one free pull and one bonus pull that you get, in like say the Nation of Domination or Celebration loot that's out right now, and it makes you go, ooh, I want more. And this true story, I got my free Nation of Celebration loot, and I was like, wow, for $6 I got nothing, but it greased the wheels for me. I spent $30. I asked my wife, I said, hey, can I use $30 of our vacation money and I got nothing.
I got a new poster out of it. I got Hall of Fame Godfather, which I didn't have.
Okay. I also
for the
got
$30
Godfather, but he wasn't new. But he was huge views.
Let me read this comment in the chat. One thing I like is that I'm actually getting something for the $30 a month. You don't have to chase shards in every loot now. I can save up tokens and get rare characters that are never in pools anymore. Okay. That's from the chat. That's from the community. Yeah. So also, this person wrote, I'm trying it for a month. We'll see how it goes. We'll let you know if I keep it or not. I'm a curious person, so anything new, I always have to try it out. I think that's a very fair and reasonable assessment to say, let me try it out before I take a dump on it, which a lot of times is our default. Is like, new, nope, don't like that. Here's my negative rant versus wait and see, try it out. Take it for a drive, then make an informed, an informed stance, take an informed stance, or just say it's not for me right out of the gate. Not for me. Not for me.
Or do what we're doing, which is testing the waters by asking other people, hey, how's this going for you? And what do you think about this? But, to Iron Sheik's point, again, follow Iron Sheik on YouTube and Twitch, Iron Sheik 84 for more WWE
and on Reddit
Champions content. I can't do it like he does.
For the record, some of Sheik's best content actually lives on Reddit. If you're a Redditor, there's a WWE Champions subreddit. And Sheik is kind of the Reddit ninja. He's a mod of it. And I used to post our boss battle breakdowns on Reddit, and it would get thousands of views, where a video we would do may never get that. So I love Sheik's Reddit involvement, probably more than anything he does, because his digital content also goes to Reddit. Right, it goes there. So
he just said, "I'm not only a mod; I own that subreddit." So
nice, boom. And I love it. I love I can scroll Reddit for hours. I get lost on Reddit. It's so much fun.
Right.
So
I don't do Reddit. I need to. It's like again, how many different things can you go down the rabbit hole on? But
I would suggest put on some NSFW filters also, because Reddit is where the depravity of mankind is a festering cesspool without some filters.
Wow. Reddit is where gross. Depravity of mankind lives.
Bro, you will see the worst things you have ever seen with an unfiltered Reddit scroll. Well, so you gotta have some guardrails.
AITA, am I
Yeah.
the yeah, and it's
Yeah. Yeah.
usually
Yeah.
like
You
yes,
don't
I
want to do it.
am. But anyway,
Lee,
so
we're
what I was
running
gonna
out of
say,
time.
okay, let me finish with this one thought then real quick.
Yeah.
So Iron Sheik's, I gotta learn which way I point on screen. Iron Sheik's points right here, and by the way, Iron Sheik is one of the most helpful content creators in the community to just say, what does this actually do that works? Like, how does this work for me? To Iron Sheik's point, you don't need to be subscribed to every pass on there. So if you're a spender, that's already one caveat. Which passes do you go for? For me, I'm gonna say let's try the UCC and see how it goes, or let other people try the UCC for a month and say yay or nay. But just for me, the number of pulls you get for $30, I think guarantees that you will at least get $30 worth of pulls out of it. So I like your credit card analogy. King of Kings pass at least once a month for a week, if not for a whole month, I think is pretty valid. Strap pass has gotten a lot better, and they fixed my biggest complaint with it, which was that you'd sign up for strap pass and then not get it for an undisclosed amount of time, which it really is disclosed. It was just whatever the countdown timer is on the, when you go into the game. But now you get it instantly. So I think those three are in the value added category. Those add value to your game if you're going to spend.
Yeah.
DX Elite Pass and the DX Pass are dated, and we've already talked about on this podcast why that can't be changed. At least it's difficult to change. There is still some value in terms of you get higher level rewards for certain, like at least one tour every month, and et cetera, et cetera. But for me, where the real, like, this is where I would spend if I was spending on passes, which I do have some. The King of Kings at least once. Strap Pass is well worth it, and then this new one. So I would say don't go down the rabbit hole of thinking you have to have every pass to get the most out of the game. There are times when the manager pass might make sense, and I would maybe shift my dollars away from the strap pass to the manager's pass, or something along those lines, depending on your needs in the game. But I'm interested to try this.
I've got a curveball to throw at you. Here's my take on it.
Because you're wearing
if you're already
hat.
Well, here's a subscription that's not quite a subscription, right?
Okay.
The Backstage Pass is something that many in the community spend weekly for.
Yeah.
I think this seems like a Backstage Pass on steroids, and you're just paying for it up front.
Yeah.
Right? Backstage Pass, you're getting those free loot coin drops, or not free. They come in the Backstage Pass. Right?
I know. I wish they would
you're
use
getting those
bonus, not free.
Right. You're getting those loot coins, just added to your inventory automatically throughout the week. I like this better. And this is actually cheaper than 4 weeks of the Backstage Pass. Yeah. This is actually cheaper at a 5-week MLC. This is $20 cheaper than a 5-week MLC Backstage Pass. So if that's your spend, if that's your dedicated spend, and you think doing that is going to help you max the MLC, then stick with it. If you don't think that Backstage Pass guarantees you or helps you get to max the MLC, if you think you can do it without Backstage Pass, this may be worth experimenting in lieu of the Backstage Pass. That's my take on it.
I agree. I'm about to put it in the chat, but Backstage Pass does have some things that the new pass doesn't. But you're right. The free loot coin, there's usually MLC points. There's usually event points for the weekend event that you get through the Backstage Pass. But you're right. I wasn't thinking about that. I do the Backstage Pass every once in a while, as needed.
I think it's the most, in my analysis and my observation, I think it's the most spent on item for people who are working hard to max the MLC. I think it's consistently what they spend on. And Bad Bruce, best value in my opinion. Yeah. So that's where I would say compare the value. The value.
Yep.
I don't know which holds more value at this point. I think it's worth a comparison. I think it's worth listening to what those in your faction are saying they're spending on. And never be afraid to ask. Never be afraid to ask your faction mates.
Yep.
Let me articulate it this way. I'll say, someone will post something in the brag room, And I'll say, how'd you get that? Or how,
Right.
where'd you find that?
Right.
Where'd you pull that? And they'll just send like a $sign response. And like, but I think we need to have more open conversations about, but where did you spend? Like, don't just say you spent, like, where? Was it on the portal and you got a bonus portal milestone and that's what gave you enough, points to then unlock that? So, like, I think it's okay to say, I spent here and here's the result.
Right.
You don't have to share how much you spend, right? So, well, how much? Well, a lot. Just say a lot. I spent a lot, right? But they say, but I spent a lot in this contest on the loot, so then at least people can know how you're getting the results you're getting. They don't have to do the same thing. They don't have to know how much you spent, but where you spend should be less taboo in faction chat, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, that's like the argument of, do you show your paycheck, or do employees get to talk about what they make? Because it only levels the playing field. Like, it's a good idea. But again, like, you sent me a curveball. Same with you. I know you spend $5 a week on the step up, or the whatever it is, where you get at the end of the month you get the flash feuds, the full steps or whatever. So you're spending at least $20 a month right there, and a big part of that is you get a pull, right? So this could theoretically, you are already spending $20 a month. You could theoretically add $10, and you don't get everything the same, but you get that. So it's all about. We've always told people, spend smart. If you're going to spend smart. Like, get the most bang for your buck, and I think we may have found it. So. Rusty, you said we need to cut out the WWE talk, so we can do that on another time here.
And that's okay. I mean, we did some deep dive of, I think, some important stuff
on this podcast.
Yeah. So we'll be on stream tonight. You and I have no problem having conversations. We can talk on stream tonight about what's going on WWE TV as we do our power ratings. But Lee, I hate to say it, but I have got to run. So this episode needs to come to a close. Would you take us out, friend?
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate everybody who's joining us on the live Twitch recording version of this. It is going to these podcast sources that you see down below, so follow us there. Follow us on Twitch, and we will see you again tonight on the official WWE Champions channel to power rate Bret Hart. We appreciate you guys. Love this community. Follow Iron Sheik 84. Follow us. We'll see you guys later. Bye.